nowadays.
Oh yeah,
Just
we get
not,
people,
not to buy things, just to take the.
get people from all over the world. I mean, it's almost like we're a tourist destination now, so, which is nice. I mean, it's great. A lot of people come in.
Jarrod Schulz was hiding several criminal cases in plain sight. While millions watched him on Storage Wars, Jarrod Schulz was quietly battling multiple cases in Orange County, all while keeping a past prison sentence out of the spotlight. On screen, he built a brand. Off-screen, a different reality was unfolding. His ex-partner later tattooed one word on her middle finger: free. What leaving him felt like. How does a man hide that much from that many people? And what does it cost the woman standing next to him while he does it? Join us as we reveal Jarrod Schulz's double life. The version of Jarrod Schulz that A&E never introduced. The answer starts in a California prison in 1997. While fans were being introduced to the young guns, Jarrod Schulz was already carrying a felony conviction and 2 prison stints that nobody on the show ever mentioned. In January 1997, Jarrod was arrested in California for felony possession of a controlled substance. He was around 20 years old. He pleaded guilty and received a 60-day sentence. He was released on probation. Within weeks, he was caught again, this time with drugs in the car and alcohol in his system while driving. The probation violation, combined with the new charges, gave the judge enough reason to send him back. Jarrod served 16 months in a California state prison. According to a source who spoke to Reality Weekly in 2012, Jarrod had been dealing narcotics in the mid-1990s. The same source said prison was what finally stopped him. After his release, he changed direction. He found work as a sales manager at a carpet cleaning company in Tustin, California. He started over quietly, without drawing attention to what had happened. In 1999, a woman named Brandy Passante came to work at that same company. Jarrod was her manager at the time. Neither of them ever confirmed who made the first move, but Brandy later said he wore her down and was persistent about pursuing her. They became a couple. Then they became a business. By 2002, Jarrod had launched a clothing brand he called Outlaw Apparel. Outlaw Apparel was built around biker and streetwear aesthetics. Jarrod ran it out of Orange County, selling merchandise online and eventually through the Now and Then store. By 2010, he and Brandy were standing in front of A&E cameras as the Young Guns, and the prison record stayed exactly where Jarrod had always kept it, out of the conversation entirely. Over the next several years, Storage Wars became one of the most watched shows on cable television. Jarrod appeared in every season. He and Brandy got their own spin-off in 2014. The audience grew, and through all of it, the version of Jarrod Schulz that millions of people were watching on Tuesday nights was the only version most of them ever knew existed. The show never addressed his past. Jarrod never brought it up publicly. The network never raised it. For the entire run of their time on television together, the criminal record sat in court documents, while the Young Guns persona played out in living rooms across the country. Fans saw a couple building something together, 2 people who owned a thrift store, raised children, argued loudly about bids, and somehow made it work on screen. The Now and Then thrift store in Orange, California, became part of the show's texture. When it closed permanently in early 2016, the show absorbed it and moved on. The closure came after years of the store generating mixed revenue. Brandy later acknowledged that running a retail location alongside a filming schedule had stretched them both thin. Jarrod had been living 2 versions of himself since before Brandy ever came into the picture. By the time Storage Wars made him a household name, the gap between what was visible and what was real had been open for over a decade. The criminal record from 1997 was the foundation. What was built on top of it between 2018 and 2023 was something else entirely, and it did not stay quiet the way the earlier record had. The show went on hiatus after season 12, and fans assumed it was a production decision. But the hiatus had nothing to do with production. So what had Jarrod and Brandi been hiding, and for exactly how long had it already been going on? 3 years of silence and everything it covered. The moment Storage Wars went off air after season 12 in 2018, Jarrod Schulz and Brandi Passante ended their relationship and agreed, without any public statement, to tell nobody. Brandi took on the full weight of raising their 2 children, Cameron and Peyton, largely without support. She later said in a Facebook Live interview that she had been doing most of the parenting on her own for a long time, and that what was missing from the household was the presence of a father figure, someone whose voice alone would carry authority. She was navigating that reality daily, while the public still had no idea the relationship had ended. In a separate interview on the Spirit Talk YouTube channel, Brandi said she had not been permitted to have her own identity for many years, and that the period following the split was the first time she had genuinely started to figure out who she was outside of the relationship. When Storage Wars returned in April 2021 with its season 13 premiere, both Jarrod and Brandi confirmed the split on camera, separately, in brief statements. Brandi said she was no longer with Jarrod. Jarrod acknowledged the same. That was the full extent of what was offered. No timeline, no context, no acknowledgement of how long the relationship had actually been over before anyone was told. A spokesperson for A&E confirmed that both were part of the season, but noted they were bidding independently. After season 13 wrapped, Jarrod's name disappeared from the cast entirely, with no announcement attached to it. Fans watching the premiere were absorbing the news as if it were recent. The reality was that it was 3 years old. The couple they had followed, argued about, and invested in had not existed since the show went off air. The season 13 episodes themselves made more sense in that context. Jarrod and Brandi barely acknowledged each other on camera. When they did interact, it was pointed. When Brandi wanted to bid on a unit, she sent a friend to do it on her behalf, rather than approach the auction herself. When Jarrod noticed, he outbid her. He later joked to the auctioneer that he would bid on anything Brandi wanted. The audience read it as the usual tension the show had always traded on. The show had a breakup on its hands and turned it into a rivalry. The audience got entertainment. What was actually sitting underneath it stayed off camera entirely. There was a resisting arrest charge sitting in Orange County court records since 2019. Fans watching season 13 had no idea it existed, and by the time season 13 actually aired, a second charge was about to follow, this one impossible to keep quiet. What came next was not a single incident that could be dismissed as a bad night. By the time it became public, there were 3 separate charges in Orange County courts, and at least one of them was already sitting in the public record while fans were watching him on screen. But what were those charges, and how close did any of it come to the show itself? What was happening while the cameras were off? Jarrod Schulz was charged with resisting a police officer in 2019, the same year Storage Wars was on hiatus, the same year the breakup between him and Brandi was still a secret, and the same city where he had just opened his bar. Court records confirmed the charge had been filed following an incident on July 12th in Lake Forest, California. Because the case remained open, the Orange County Sheriff's Office declined to provide further details. The criminal complaint listed 3 officers involved. At the time, he was running the Rush Bar and Grill less than a mile from where the incident occurred. The bar had opened earlier that same year. The charge sat open in court records for months before anyone outside the legal system noticed it. April 30th, 2021. Brandy was at a bar in Orange County with a group of friends. Jarrod arrived at the same location. An argument started between them. Brandy told him to leave. He stayed. According to law enforcement sources, Jarrod shoved her twice while yelling at her and the people around her. He left the bar before the police arrived. Officers took a report at the scene. Several days later, they located Jarrod and spoke with him. He denied making any physical contact with Brandy. The Orange County District Attorney's Office reviewed the evidence and charged him with 1 count of misdemeanor domestic violence battery. Jarrod's attorney responded publicly. The position was that Jarrod denied the incident entirely, would not accept any plea arrangement that was not a complete dismissal, and was prepared to go to trial. Prosecutors had not offered a deal. Witnesses at the bar gave conflicting accounts. One described the contact as a shoulder bump. Another placed Jarrod on a bar stool during the confrontation. Brandy had not sought medical attention afterward and had no visible injuries. Then, in October 2021, just months after the domestic violence charge, Jarrod was charged with driving under the influence of alcohol, with a recorded blood alcohol content at or above the legal limit. The violation date was October 5th. 3 charges now sat open simultaneously in Orange County courts. By June 2023, court records showed all 3 cases had been combined. A jury trial was scheduled for the morning of June 20th, 2023. It was pushed back. Pre-trial hearings were rescheduled for July. The battery case was set for a separate pre-trial on July 18th, with a jury trial date of July 24th. No confirmed public verdict has been reported for any of the 3 cases. The overlap with his television career was direct. Season 13 of Storage Wars aired in April 2021, the same month as the bar incident with Brandy. Viewers watching that premiere were seeing Jarrod on screen, reacting to his bids, following his storyline, while the events that would lead to a domestic violence battery charge were unfolding that same month. The resisting arrest charge had been sitting in court records since 2019. It was there during filming. It was there during the broadcast. The audience had no way of knowing. The 1997 conviction had stayed buried for over 2 decades. 3 simultaneous open cases in Orange County courts were a different matter entirely. By mid-2023, reporters had the court records, the dates, and the charge sheets. There was nothing left to manage quietly. While the charges were working their way through the courts, Jarrod had already moved his entire life in a new direction. So who was the woman at the center of it? And how long had she been in his life before anyone on the outside knew she existed? The separate world Jarrod built. Before the domestic violence charge made headlines, before the breakup became public, Jarrod Schulz had already moved on, and the woman he moved on with was someone he had hired. Rachel Beckman worked as a bartender at the Rush Bar and Grill in Lake Forest, California, the bar Jarrod had taken ownership of around 2019. By early 2019, the two had gone public on Instagram. Rachel posted about the relationship openly, writing that it was striking how much better life could feel when someone was genuinely appreciated. That post appeared during a period when the split between Jarrod and Brandy had not yet been publicly announced. Viewers who followed Jarrod on social media and came across it had no framework for what it meant. The Rush Bar and Grill was a complete departure from everything fans associated with Jarrod. No storage units, no thrift stores, no bidding. It operated as a neighborhood spot with live music and karaoke nights, and most customers who came through the door had no idea the owner had spent years on national television. Jarrod promoted it regularly, appeared there, and built it into a functioning business outside of anything connected to Storage Wars or Brandy. By the time Season 13 aired in April 2021, and the split was finally acknowledged on camera, Jarrod had already been living this separate version of his life for years. The bar was established. The relationship with Rochelle was established. The transition was complete. The season 13 cameras captured him performing a familiar role, the competitive, sharp-tongued young gun, while the life he had actually moved into bore almost no resemblance to it. After the domestic violence charge made headlines in May 2021, Jarrod pulled back from social media significantly. His last known post on Instagram appeared in May 2022, a photo with Rochelle. After that, nothing. No comments on the ongoing court coverage. No response to the scheduled trial dates. No public appearances tied to the show or any media connected to it. He went quiet and stayed quiet. Storage wars continued without him. The show returned for season 15 in 2023, season 16 in June 2025, which introduced a new hour-long format, and season 17 in February 2026. Jarrod was absent from all of it. A&E never issued a formal statement explaining his departure. Whether he was removed from the show or walked away was never confirmed publicly by either side. Then, in early 2025, Jarrod ended his social media silence with a single post. He tagged Storage Wars directly and stated that it was time for the network to bring him back, adding that the show was not the same without him. The comments were divided immediately. Some fans said they missed the original dynamic and would welcome a return. Others pointed to everything that had happened since he left and made clear they had no interest in seeing him back on screen. Several responses referenced the charges directly. A&E did not respond publicly. The show kept airing, and Jarrod remained off the cast. The bar in Lake Forest kept running, and Rochelle remained in his life. The 3 criminal cases produced no confirmed public resolution. The last known image of Jarrod on social media was from 2022. After that, the public record of his day-to-day life went dark. While Jarrod went quiet, Brandi kept moving. 4 months after the domestic violence charge was confirmed, she put something permanent on her body that said everything she had never said out loud. What was it? And who exactly was it meant for? What Brandi did next said everything. In October 2021, 4 months after the domestic violence charge against Jarrod had been confirmed by the Orange County District Attorney's Office, Brandi Passante posted a photo of a new tattoo. It was on her middle finger. The word "free," with a small bird drawn mid-flight away from the final letter. The caption she wrote alongside it was direct. She said the tattoo represented escaping a very difficult situation, the kind that many people never find their way out of. She said she was grateful for a life no longer shaped by fear. She said the experiences she had been through had left her with an ability to understand what others in similar situations were going through. She did not reference Jarrod by name anywhere in the post. The domestic violence charge had been filed in May. The breakup had been private since 2018. The tattoo was the first time Brandi made her version of the story permanently visible, and the placement on her middle finger made clear it was not aimed at the general public. Fans who had watched her on Storage Wars since 2010, who had seen her navigate the show's pressures, manage the business failures, and raise 2 children largely on her own, responded to the post in large numbers. The tattoo became one of the most discussed moments connected to anything involving Brandi or Jarrod, outside of the show itself. Brandi kept moving. Cameron, her son with Jarrod, turned 21 in May 2024. She marked the occasion publicly and used the moment to promote his first creative project, a crowd-funded film for which he served as both writer and director. She encouraged her followers to support it. She returned to Storage Wars for season 15 in 2023, remained on the show through season 16 in 2025, and was still part of the active cast when season 17 premiered in February 2026. By that point, she had been on the show for 16 consecutive years, through the spin-off, through the hiatus, through the breakup, through the criminal charges involving her ex-partner, and through the complete reshaping of her personal life. She was still there. He was not. She also moved into a new relationship with Clifford Beaver, a realtor. Clifford had no connection to the entertainment industry. Brandy described him in interviews as someone who brought stability into her life that she had not experienced in a long time. In May 2024, she shared candid photos marking his birthday, the first time she had publicly shared images of a new relationship since the split. She was smiling in every one. Brandy kept working. Jarrod kept waiting. The show kept airing. 16 years in, one of them was still standing in front of the camera. The other one was asking to be let back in. A&E never addressed a single one of Jarrod's criminal cases publicly. At what point does a network become responsible for what it chooses not to ask? And knowing everything that is now on public record, would you watch a season 18 with Jarrod Schulz back on that screen? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.